Well guys, we are somehow back. Today we are once again diving headfirst into the insanity that has been the downfall of the MrBeast company over the last couple of months. They really just keep outdoing themselves. Now, if this is somehow the first time you're hearing about all this MrBeast drama, then you're gonna be really lost during the duration of this video. I'll put a couple of videos in the top right corner that you should check out if you want the full story, because I'm not gonna be doing my normal recap, because at this point there is like 10 weeks straight of drama, accusations, allegations, videos, documentaries, all kinds of shit. There's just too much to go through, so I'm not even gonna try. The one bit of context I'll give you is that over the last couple of months, we have learned that the MrBeast company is full of freaks, and with every passing week, there seems to be more and more evidence coming out to back that up. And that's why we're here today. I'm sure you're all already familiar with the YouTuber Dogpack 404, and last week he came out with a new video titled MrBeast Secret CEO, where amongst many other things, he brings forth some allegations that not only is there a concerning amount of questionable people in front and behind the camera, there is also a concerning amount of questionable people who are occupying the top positions at the company as well. Now, as always with these videos, I'm not going to be covering the entire thing. I'm going to be going through highlighting bits here and there that I think are particularly important within the context of this whole MrBeast situation. As always, I would highly recommend that you go give this original video a watch. You won't be getting the same experience nor the same information if you don't. But with that being said, let's not waste any more time. Let's begin. Please subscribe. Now, the first 10 minutes of this video or so is focusing on MrBeast's cousin James Warren, who is the secret CEO in question. And while he seems to be a piece of shit as well, allegedly running a Ponzi scheme in the past to scam the elderly, while also being a questionable partner, that's not who we're going to be focusing on today. We're going to be focusing on somebody that he presumably helped get a job at the MrBeast company and the consequences of that happening.
Now on to his alleged best friend, LaQuia Hill. They both went to UNC Chapel Hill together, and they both, after graduating, got into real estate. But by 2017, LaQuia Hill was running an adult entertainment event business in San Francisco called LaQuia Hill Entertainment. Then in 2019, he was hired to MrBeast as a producer.
Our party evolved into this place where, you know, you have the drag queens, the muscle daddies, the bears, the twinks, the like posh boys.
Now, I'm all for personal freedoms. I believe adults should be able to do whatever they want. However, I question what qualified the sort of go-go dance drag daddy of San Francisco for a job producing YouTube content for children.
So I think this concern right here really speaks to what is one of the biggest issues with this company. So many people, especially those in front of the camera and the people in the higher positions, seem to be there because of nepotism. Now look, I'm not going to sit here and say that nepotism is a problem when it comes to YouTube content creation. If you're running a successful YouTube channel and you want to hire your friends and family to be part of that content, I'm not going to say that's an issue. It's a fucking YouTube channel. Why it's such a problem is because Jimmy's a piece of shit. These last couple of months, I'd say probably like 80% of the drama has come from somebody who works at the MrBeast company being exposed for being a bad person. Obviously, we had the Kris Tyson situation. We had the original Dogpack video that brought to light all the shady techniques that MrBeast was employing and how all of his friends were helping to make it happen. In that video, we also learned a lot about the shady past of some of those friends. We had all that information on the guy named Delaware who worked at the MrBeast company come to light. At the same time that was happening, all this information about the poorly run MrBeast games was coming out. And now we've got this. We've got his cousin who's the CEO who's allegedly abusive and a scammer. And you're also about to learn a lot of bad shit about this LaQuia Hill guy. One or two people in a company as big as MrBeast being exposed for being bad people, that's expected. I mean, there's a lot of bad people out there, believe it or not. However, when this many people at the company that were hired seemingly because they were close to MrBeast in some sort of capacity are being exposed for being a deviant, including MrBeast's best friend, while simultaneously a lot of the things that we're finding out now were allegedly known within the company for a long time, like the Delaware stuff. What kind of person just happens to have these sorts of people all within their inner circle? MrBeast's downfall is gonna be hiring his friends because they're beginning to be a reflection of who he is.
It's not the real issue, though. The issue is that In late 2021, he was allegedly fired for sexually assaulting his assistant. Now, I put fired in quotation marks because he was actually quietly moved to the dubbing company, which was Unilingo at the time.
Again, you've got to question the kind of person who is so insistent on keeping people who have proven themselves to be sexual deviants on the company roster. We've got Kris Tyson, the Delaware guy, and now this dude, who were all shifted or moved around or had things that they did hidden in order to try and keep who they are and what they've done on the down low. Again, you've got to question what kind of person not only wants people like this working at their company, but is also going out of their way to make sure that can continue.
He was actually brought back to MrBeast in 2023 after sexually assaulting his assistant prior, and promoted to Chief Financial Officer, which is how I personally was introduced to him. So here I have a document showing testimony from former MrBeast employees talking about LaQuia Hill. When I say verified former MrBeast employee, I had them send some form of proof. I know who some of these people are. They just want to remain anonymous. But here's the first testimony, and I'll say this person is especially credible in my opinion. I asked them, did you see or hear of any sexual misconduct at the company? They say, yes, LaQuia Hill, the current COO. In 2021, he had an assistant named victim's name. I heard LaQuia acted very inappropriately with victim, booking hotel rooms with only one bed, walking around in his underwear, having victim come to his house and showing him his sex toy collection. Just in general, LaQuia made victim uncomfortable. Victim started complaining to higher-ups and a report got written. LaQuia was put on paid leave for like a month. Then MrBeast moved him to the dubbing company, and he was hired back in 2023 and was promoted to COO, even though Jimmy, James, and Sue 100% know his history.
So again, we are seeing this trend where everybody important in this kind of matter, both MrBeast and Sue, who is MrBeast's mother, and also apparently the head of HR, which if that isn't a conflict of interest, I don't know what is, know that this stuff is going on. They are taking action once they are informed that this stuff is happening, which means that there's really no skirting around this. I mean, unless this person is just completely lying, this would prove that they know that their COO doing this is not exactly a great look for them, but instead of firing the person who's sexually harassing your employees, you just move them to another company to quiet things down. Again, why do you want that person on your roster so badly that you're willing to jump through these hoops? Now, the next few minutes include multiple testimonials from other employees saying basically the same thing and corroborating what the first person said. It seems pretty unlikely to me that all these people are coming together and risking a pretty hefty lawsuit just to bring down this random guy nobody outside of MrBeast has ever heard of. So it seems pretty credible to me, and it's only made more credible by what Dogpack said MrBeast did next.
Now recently, MrBeast has let LaQuia Hill go. They had this sort of leaked email where they say, therefore, along with Jeff Hausenbold, our new president and COO, right? Alluding to the fact that LaQuia Hill is no longer working there. Now, I have been open with MrBeast about the fact that I was going to cover LaQuia Hill. This is a single frame in my first video where I reference LaQuia. He's also in my Twitter header. And I've also just told people who work at MrBeast that they have to let LaQuia Hill go. So they did what I wanted and let him go, right? Well, just on a whim, I decided to look into the Creator Global LinkedIn, and it had gone private to where everyone just shows up as a LinkedIn member, right? But I saw this, L, LinkedIn member, president of Creator Global. I thought, you know what, that's a little suspicious. So I reached out to one of my connections close to MrBeast and I said, hey, can you look into this account for me? Because sometimes if you have connections, you can see private LinkedIn accounts. And this is what they saw. LaQuia Hill, listed as the current president at Creator Global. No work history between graduating UNC in May 2001 and becoming the president at Creator Global in 2024.
So again, we're going to keep going back to this the entire time because this is pretty much the entire reason I wanted to make this video. What kind of person, MrBeast being the kind of person in question here, jumps through this many hoops for a person who has the allegations that this guy has against him? Allegations that MrBeast company has apparently acted on in the past, which seems like them acknowledging that they did happen, because because otherwise, why would they feel the need to do this, and why would this guy keep jumping around between where he actually works? Why would you do this? Why would you hire this guy, let all of this happen, move him to a different company just to quiet things down, bring him back once you think that it's all died down, and then once you get called out by somebody else for all of this happening, say you fired him, make it a big deal saying that you fired him, when in reality, you just moved him back to the other company. That seems like an extreme amount of liability and a lot of risk for this guy when you could have just fired him. I'm gonna keep asking it, what kind of person is willing to assume this kind of risk just to keep somebody who did all of this in the company network? I don't know, maybe somebody who's trying to guarantee similar treatment in the future if need be? Who knows?
Okay, now let's move on to the man himself, Jimmy Donaldson. First, I'll show this testimony from another former MrBeast employee just to show sort of the work culture, especially from a female's perspective. She says, "On my very first day, I was told to avoid being alone in a room with certain people in positions of power. At least once a week, I was subjugated to inappropriate questions and conversations. Once, a male coworker asked me what I would do if Jimmy assaulted or harassed me. On another occasion, this same coworker said it wasn't fair that women could just decide a past sexual encounter wasn't consensual. Many of the men I worked with would make assault and pet jokes on a daily basis. They would scream and hit walls when they got upset. The minute any woman leaves a room, they would talk about if/how they would fuck her. I've heard men comment on female contestants' bodies many times. Not everyone behaves this way, but no one openly speaks out against it in fear of losing their job. If you complain about any of this, you'll be shamed for being too sensitive or just ignored. You can't take anything to HR either because Jimmy's mom runs it. It's pretty common for people to essentially get paid to leave and stay quiet if they make enough noise about something. There is no employee handbook, by the way. If you ask for one or what the company's policies are, they just tell you to ask them and they'll let you know if anything is against the rules. But again, there's nothing in writing."
Again, so all of this is just pointing towards what's actually the real problem here. A business, especially a business that was formed like this one, what started as just MrBeast and his friends turning into something massive. This sort of culture, this sort of workplace environment, it does not happen by accident. It reflects how the business was formed, the core values of how this all came to be. I keep seeing so many people call for MrBeast to respond to all of this, for him to make it right, for him to reform the company, for him to get everything back on track. Guys, that will never happen. A lot of people are treating all of these controversies like MrBeast is just kind of sitting there on the sidelines and he's not doing anything about it, and that's why it's such a big problem. That's not it. MrBeast is the problem. You don't accidentally build a company from the ground up that has this many sexual assault controversies and cover-ups, this many predators working for you directly. For the last 2 months, evidence has constantly been coming out that suggests that Jimmy knew about so many of these incidents the entire time. At some point, the assumption has to become that it's not that MrBeast is just allowing this stuff to happen by not doing anything. It's really starting to seem like it's a conjunction of the people that Jimmy surrounds himself with being terrible people, and something about Jimmy himself allowing these people to feel comfortable being who they are, if you know what I mean. Now look, I'm not making any allegations against Jimmy or saying he's any kind of particular person whatsoever. All I'm saying is that normally, when these kinds of things come out against people, for example, maybe you know a family with 4 children, one child turns out to be a deviant or a criminal or something, you feel bad for the parents. All the children turn out to be deviants or criminals, you start to question who the parents really are. That's the kind of situation we have found ourselves in. There has got to be some sort of explanation as to how these people keep winding up at the MrBeast company, besides MrBeast is just a really unlucky employer. Well guys, what do you think? Do you think there's anything that MrBeast can do at this point to make this better? Because personally, I don't. Short of selling the company and having somebody else become MrBeast, there's just nothing you can do, and that's because of the reasons that I've talked about throughout this video. It's no longer controversy surrounding MrBeast. MrBeast is the controversy, and who knows what else is going to come out. Unfortunately though, most of this will likely go unchecked forever because like we've talked about in the past, most of MrBeast's audience is just too young, too uninformed, and too widespread. I mean seriously, if you have like a younger brother or younger sister who likes MrBeast, ask them if they have any idea why they shouldn't be watching him. The average MrBeast viewer has absolutely no idea anything has gone on in the last 3 months, and the MrBeast company knows that. Nothing will change. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and walk on over to that subscribe button and touch it. It's free. It won't cost you anything. But for now, that's all I have for you today. Bye.